This is day 2 of our collage workshop, and we're reviewing how to do printed papers, which you can use as elements in your collage. So I'm just going to get out a couple of colors that I think I want to work together with on the same piece of paper. So I'm going to take out a couple of blues and a burnt sienna and a gold interference.
Did you say this is gold interference?
Yes, it is, and that's a fluid one. I think I'll go with this, whatever this is, too.
Do fluids work better than tubes?
For certain things. They allow you to do little dribbles and interesting things. I'll show you what it is. Okay, so to apply it, to go from this point to making a print, and I don't have a regular squeegee, so I'm going to use the back of one of your things, Ellen. Okay. If I can. If you could reach me one of those.
I need a best boy.
Did you put matte needle on there yet or no?
No.
Well, that was a mistake I made.
Did you use too little or too much?
I put it on at the same time I put the paint on.
Oh, no, well, that's not a mistake. Though. I'm going to. Yeah. I'm just going to put a little bit in there. And that's really just to keep it fluid enough that I can do something with it.
To make a design? Maybe?
Yes. Now remember, when you're doing this, one piece, one little print, pulling it is not the end of things. You should be revisiting these things several times. So I'm going to put a little bit of blue on here, a little bit of some stronger blue, spread some of that gold interference there, and take a little bit of this, dot, 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 dot. And we'll just see what happens when I run this through. Is this what you were doing, Joanne, so far?
I was using my palette knife because I didn't have
oh, okay. Well, that's all right. And I'm going to just do a little dribble. And I'm also going to put a little bit of this down here.
That's good.
Isn't that a cool color?
I want a car like that again. I had one. I had a teal Jeep.
Really?
That is a pretty
Oh.
Okay, so I'm going to lay my paper on, and then starting from the center, I'm going to squeegee it out. And it may not be very nice or dramatic, but it's just step 1. So don't think that you're going to run these through once. And there's step 1 of this print. So now, for this next one, because I'm going to work a family of them in the same sort of color range that I can use them together in one thing. I'm going to take some more of this and just going to go like that. But now I'm going to take my catalyst tool. Now you see what I'm doing here is, Jan, I'm pushing hard. If you don't see through it, you're not making a design, okay? So if you're not doing that, don't be surprised that it doesn't work. There's that. And then this part here, I'm just going to mush around. And actually, there's something else I can do with that. I can take the back of my brush and just go like that. Close up. So now I'm going to take another piece of paper. I think I actually have 2 there. These are great. The backs of these work wonderfully.
And you're just doing that on copy paper now?
This is just regular copy paper. Copy paper works great because it's not thick. So you can do a bunch of prints on it, and it's not going to be too bulky. I love the made papers, but a lot of them end up very, very bulky. So this is what this one ends up like. Okay?
Oh.
And that took no time, right? So I'm going to do one more, and this one I think I'm going to spread, whoops, that's some of the matte medium and the blue, and I'm just going to spread it all over for sort of a light color. And then, remember I said I would show you what these fluids are good for. You can just do drips. And what's going to happen is they're not going to end up as drips. If you recall that painting, that example I gave you, where it looked like fish on this men's table, right? They're not fish. I don't even know where that thing is now. They were just squirts, but when you put the squeegee to the back and start spreading it around, they become shapes.
Can you use liquid craft acrylic?
Oh, absolutely. This does not have to be archival stuff for this. So, if you do the squirts, you know, the little drips of things, make sure you wipe your squeegee off because it may come out the side, like that one just did. And you're going to see that they look like polka dots, but now they're not. See how they become something else completely?
Hold it for the camera.
Oh, for the camera.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to do another one, and then my first one should be dry at that point, and I'll go back and layer another set of colors on it.
You wait till it dries.
Joanne?
Yeah,
I
yes.
don't have a brayer. I was using a rolling pin like you just did with that. Is that okay, or is that too...
No, a rolling pin would be absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. At this point, I don't want my color quite so muddled, so I'm just going to take some of it off. What do you call this technique? It's just printing paper. It's just monoprinting technique. That's good enough for now. Oh, merciful heavens.
What that mean?
It's the... Oh, hope so.
I'm not ants.
Yes, it's not. So I'm going to introduce a little bit different. See, I use the same ring for my daughter. So now I'm not using the palette. I'm putting it right on there. Okay.
Pretty.
It is, isn't it?
It is. So it's thicker.
Well, that one, yeah, that was a tube one. It doesn't have anything else in it. So I'm going to put some more of that blue here. Put some more of the blue here. And I think I'll pick up a little bit of this gold. And we're going to go like that. Oh, and I forgot. Remember I showed you last week how you do that? And those are so cool to do.
Oh, yes.
Could you again explain about the interferon paints? What
Interference.
interference?
Yes. Interference paints reflect two colors back, depending how you tilt your head. So some are yellow and violet, some are pink and green. I'm going to put this on here. And I've been putting these on pretty straight, meaning aligned with the edges, but don't feel committed to that. Because it's actually, like when I go through for the second time, I'm only going to lay the paper on, like covering part of it, and then another piece of paper covering the other part. So nothing is too regular. You really want to encourage anarchy, I guess. So, I want to do one more, because I want to do a dark one so that I can show you how it will look when you do a super light over that. So, dark color. Ooh. Well, this could be ugly, but maybe not.
It's coming out like brown through this camera.
Is it? There.
It's really purple.
It's purple.
The color in this camera doesn't do photography very well.
It's a camera. It's supposed to be good at photography. It's the only thing it's supposed to do. It's the only thing people ask of it.
Yeah, well, this camera doesn't do it well. Colors, focus.
Yes.
So this is really two procedures. This is printmaking and
Yes.
collages and altogether different. I mean, you can use these in your collage. But
Yes.
if you have an intention of something or an inspiration in something, you can use these. But this isn't really. You're
This
not
is not the
setting out
collage.
to make these so that you can.
Have them around.
You know what I mean?
They are not an end in themselves. They are just a way of giving you material to collage.
Right.
I
So
think
it's a
that
separate
when you think about when you were in elementary school and there people did collage, all they did was magazines. And they cut out magazines and they put them together. So this is an artist's way of doing collage where you're actually not just collecting things, but making the elements too.
The thing that excites me always is that I always have some kind of inspiration, and it gets in the way a lot of times, but I have to have that.
You can have inspiration with this.
And then it has to fit.
Yes.
So none of that might fit.
Yes. Oh, it will. It will. You start out with your inspiration first. So let me address that, Carol, because I think that's a really good point. If let's say your inspiration is to do a beach scene, okay, and you want to do something that shows a lot of dunes and some waves, but people and umbrellas, okay? So, as you're thinking about this, you're thinking about the colors you want, what your picture is. You know, is it a bright day? Is it a stormy day? What colors are you going to need? Well, I'm going to need a lot of tans and browns and pinks and whites for the sand, and then I'm going to need some bright poppy colors for the umbrella, and maybe some really bright greens or something like that for the grasses. So those are the things that are inspiring you at this point. Is that easier to understand?
If you were making your prints, you would go with your color palette that you would like to.
So what I would say,
Like this would be
ocean, right there.
And this would be
There's a fence on the dunes. Yeah, absolutely. So let's say I'm doing that. That was my inspiration. I might do 3 or 4 pieces of paper, all in different range of blues to greens, and maybe with some browns in them. And those are going to be the things I'm going to pull water from. And I'm going to have certain kinds of marks in them. And then maybe I'll do 3 pieces of paper that are just wild splotchy colors, which will make great beach umbrellas torn into pieces, right? So you just think about your goal and create that way.
But that's so literal. I mean, you don't want to necessarily create the fence.
No,
it just turned out that way.
There's nothing wrong with doing that either.
You didn't plan to make a fence or an ocean.
But it did happen, so I'm going to use it.
Right.
Is this the first one I did? Yes, it is. Okay.
Okay.
So,
are you going to take 2?
Now I'm going to do another layer. This is the second layer that I'm going to put down over tops of these. So I'm going to hit this one first, which has some blues and bluish green, and then there's that a couple of browns in there. And for this one, I'm going to add brown.
Do you have something in mind right now? What is it?
No, I'm just creating a palette for myself. I really don't have something in mind. If I did, I would be approaching it maybe a little bit differently. Just getting rid of the excess here. Very nice. We're going to do a little texturing in that one. I like doing this. I think I showed you last week. Up and down, up and down. And as you build up subsequent layers on your paper, you want to have more open space. Okay? It's counterproductive to do a light first coat and then the third printing, make it real heavy because you're covering up all your previous work. So each subsequent one, you should have more and more open space so you get those little tantalizing bits of what's underneath sticking through. So for this one, then, I'm just going to go like that.
How would you describe the palette that you're creating?
It's a blue-green palette, but it's warm. Okay. And I think for this one, I'm just going to go like that. Oh, that's cool.
When you say more open, you mean
more
not
open
all
space.
Covered up.
Yes, right. Less covered up. So I'm only going to do part of this in this, and even though this one isn't dry, I'm going to do something there.
Could you have used the reverse sides of that thing to make the marks that you just made?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, this would be great marks.
Sorry.
Oh, cool.
Oh, the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Oh, and look at this one's developing too. And I still have a little bit of something on here. And I'm not sure, but I think I'm going to try putting it on here. Sometimes you can get a second printing out of them. Sometimes you can't. You can spray a little bit of water over the top to loosen it up a little bit. Just watch out. Too much will just make it bubble across your paper. Didn't give me much. Well, it gave me a little bit.
Green.
Gave me
Yeah.
something
So basically,
in there.
you don't want it too thick on there because it'll smush.
Yes, exactly. That's why you use a brayer or squish it around one way or another. So let's see, what else can I hit now? Oh, that one.
Did you use medium on these the second go round?
Oh, not on the second go round.
And
Yeah,
what-
that one I think I'm going to do some. Hold on a second there. I'm going to put gold and more of this Quinn gold. Oh, I love that color, man. Oh, man.
Why didn't you use medium on the second go round?
No particular reason, unfortunately.
Oh. We need answers.
Sometimes art doesn't have answers, right? And I think for this one, again, following, you know, my own instruction, I want to have lots of open space, so.
Crop circles.
Yeah. It's a conspiracy. There, that's nice. And we're just going to do a couple of drops of gold. If it lets me.
That's gold?
Yeah, that's that interference gold. Can you see all right there? Oh. Ooh, pretty, pretty.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hold it for the camera. Ooh. That'd be good for a pumpkin.
It may find a home in one. Who knows? I still like what's going on here, so.
So you got rid of it.
No. I'm going to bring it back to life. I put some of my medium on here.
Is it getting too dry?
Yes, it's getting too dry.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
trying to
gonna
get
put
a
some of this.
sense of how you determine when to use medium.
If it gets tacky, it's not good. Okay. One of the things it's going to do, particularly with the copy paper, is going to grab it and rip it. If it gets to that point, you're not getting a good transmission anyway. So I think for this one, we'll just do some big, like some wood graining thing.
Like that.
And it's going to go over this. Goodbye, ocean. It was pleasant, but you're gone now. Storm is coming, yes. It's a sandstorm. Oh, very cool. So you see what's happening with each subsequent layer as you let other things partially peek through. You get a complexity. So there's a lot more, it's much more useful piece of paper the more you do it. Okay? Now, I'm going to stop and I want to talk about building up your palette. And then I'll talk about what other, some pale greens or tans or something like that. So keep that in mind. You're not just creating color, you're creating value. So some of your papers should be light, some medium, some dark. And in fact, if you've made them already, I would suggest that's one of the first things that you do is when you get back to your workstation, put your lights in a pile, put your mediums, put your darks, or at least separate it by lighter and darker, okay? Sometimes that middle ground is kind of hard to see. Once you do that, then make your color determination. Don't put them in piles by color. The reason is, this is still art. You still need to consider the value of everything you do. So, rather than saying, oh, I'm working on a leaf, I need green, and just reach for a green, you should think more in terms of, does it need to be a light or a dark? Remember, value reads more effectively than color. So you can use the wrong color. As long as it's the right value, it's going to work. So don't make your piles by color, please. Make them light and dark. Then if you want to go into them, then you can say, well, I need a light green for this, and you know which pile to go through. It'll keep you from reaching just for any old green. Are you following me on that? Okay, all right. Okay, next question.
I had saved, when we did collage before, I had